Yeah, perfect. All right, sorry for the brief delay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, attendees and participants. Welcome to the Variance Review Board for Tuesday, June 10th. Oh, man. Meeting in the City of Tampa, Variance Review Board. For my members to the left, the members of the board are
Megan Cochran,
Brian Frank.
Todd Foltz.
Simone Savino.
very good. I am Aaron Murphy. Also in attendance this evening from legal is Susan Johnson-Velez, and from development coordination is Mr. Stephen Eister and Ms. Leah Middleton. There are some procedural rules we need to follow. When your case number and petitioner's name are called, please approach the podium. When you approach the podium, please state your name, address, and confirm that you have been sworn in. The petitioner or its agent will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. All other persons or participants wishing to speak will have 3 minutes. Then the petitioner will have an additional 5 minutes for rebuttal if needed. The time periods as stated will be kept by the board. Any information such as pictures or plans that have not been previously submitted as part of the petition and that you intend to submit for consideration in support of your petition must be individually presented and accepted by the board. After acceptance by the board, you must submit the item to staff for it to be entered and made part of the permanent record. The board bases its decision on competent and substantial evidence, which is submitted and meets the criteria required by the City Code of Ordinances. Please be sure to clearly state your hardship criteria during your presentation. A majority of the board is needed to approve your variance. The variance granted by the board will only be for what is shown on the site plan and will be in compliance with any terms or conditions stated by the board. All other city codes will need to be met. If the case is approved, your variance will expire 2 years from the date of the decision. If your case is continued, it will either be continued to next month's VRB board agenda or to the next available position on an upcoming VRB board agenda. If the case is denied, you may wish to have the Variance Review Board's decision appealed by the City Council. You must file a petition for review of the board's decision within 14 days of the board's written decision. You will not be able to pull any permits until the 14-day review period has passed. Your cooperation in ensuring that this meeting is run smoothly is greatly appreciated. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the previous VRB board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Before we get started, I think there was a small order of condolences that we wanted to offer to. Yes.
On behalf of the Variance Review Board for the City of Tampa, we'd like to offer our sincere and deepest condolences to the family, the friends, the colleagues of Councilwoman Gwen Henderson, who left us early in her life this morning. She has left an indelible mark on the community and our city, and she was a personal friend of mine, and she will be deeply and greatly missed.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Eister, moving on to the first case. Oh, sorry.
Chair, sorry.
Oh, we have to stand for our.
Well,
swearing.
actually, I would first like to
All
ask
right, even more.
the board members if any of them have had any ex parte communications with respect to any matters on the agenda this evening. If the record could please reflect that all of the board members indicated in the negative. And then finally, I'd like to ask if any board members have any conflicts of interest with respect to any items on the agenda this evening. So again, please let the record reflect that all board members have indicated in the negative. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. If you plan to speak this evening, or there's a possibility you may be speaking for or against any of the petitions, please stand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, Board. The first case on our agenda tonight is VRB-25-36. The owner is Marco, and the applicant is Chris Akins. The property address is 2715 North Ridgewood Avenue. The zoning is residential single family, RS50. The request is to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet And this is under section 27-156, table 4-2, schedule for area height, bulk, and placement regulations of RS50 districts are 20 feet front, 20-foot rear, and 7 foot on the sides. There was a previous action, a DET and a BLD, both relating to a driveway expansion. This is a aerial of the site, highlighted in red. This is the area of concern. It's a detached, it's going to end up being a 2-story garage structure. Currently, it's a 1-story garage. This is a close-up. They are meeting all side setbacks. So the request is to reduce the 20-foot setback here to 10 foot off the alley. Natural resources found it consistent with conditions. The building is under the existing canopy of the tree, so when the second story is added to the garage, they will need to provide a canopy pruning plan. Transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, all found it consistent. Stormwater found it consistent with conditions. The submitted sketch reflects a concrete slab for stairs as the only addition to the on-ground surface. A signed and sealed land survey with the information showing on the sketch would be necessary. And then TICO had no comment. This is the criteria for the Variance Review Board to assess their hardship, and I'll be available for any comments, questions, or concerns.
Would the petitioner please come to the podium and present your case?
How are you guys doing this evening?
Good. Please make sure to state your name, address, and whether you have been sworn in.
And then the document camera's ready.
Okay. My name is Chris Akins. I'm the agent for 2715 North Ridgewood, and this is the owner, Marco. And yes, we've been sworn in.
Very good.
2715 North Ridgewood Ave.
You may begin your presentation.
Okay. Yeah, so we would like to, he has an existing detached garage on the back of his property. And so we would like to make it a second-story accessory dwelling unit above the existing garage. We don't want to change the footprint at all. We figured this is the best route of going and leaving the existing footprint for efficiency. The garage will be for his grandparents to move into the property. As you can see, the existing garage, we didn't get to place it. The previous developer and architect did. So we are just looking to enhance the existing structure. The structure meets all square footage and height requirements if it were to be approved as an ADU. And we are just looking to be able to build it with the 10-foot setback.
Anyone else have anything to say for the petition? Anyone here to speak against the petition? Or do you have any questions? For the petitioner?
Do you have any photos of what it looks like?
Of the existing?
Mm-hmm.
I do not. I just have the elevations of future.
I can find some on my phone.
Sure.
Let me see.
Let's see. Pull up Google.
I probably have like actual photos of the garage itself.
It currently has a horizontal hardy board siding that mimics bungalow. And we would like to keep it that same style throughout.
Okay. And this might be a question for staff, but is this zoned for accessory dwelling or secondary dwelling?
This area is within the ADU area. With what he's wanting to do with his parents, would be considered a extended family residence, and those are permitted with a special use throughout the entire city. But this can have both, either or.
I have a picture of it. Should I put it in here?
Sure.
I don't know if you can.
Okay, and then,
Larger or?
well, just looking at the area where the decrease would be, the reduction, if it's visible.
Well, the building's already there.
Right, no,
It's
just
not
where
extended.
just where that one little area was supposed to be pointed out. I just had a hard time seeing it on the site plan, so I thought, if possible, if it's
Yeah, I can dig a little more.
In the rear of the property, there's an alleyway. Is that an improved alley? Paved?
Yeah, it's paved.
Paved, that's where
Yeah.
trash and everything goes out in the back.
No, the trash still goes to the front.
But it is an existing improved alley that people are using.
Yeah, people love it. Yeah, I use it, I mean, I park my car in the garage there, so, I try to tell my neighbors to keep it clean, but we have like 3, 4 garages there, so we actually do a pretty good job in keeping ourselves clean.
Very good.
So, Stephen, in the natural resources noting of the pruning of the tree that's close to this building, and we don't have any pictures of that particular tree, correct?
That is correct. I did a satellite review and then I went out to the site.
Okay. Is it extensive, like the pruning extensive?
It is not because of the existing structure already being there. It's very little canopy conflict, and the overall structure, I think, is only, the second level is 25 feet
Okay.
compared to 35 feet, which is allowed by a traditional like home. So you were still 10 feet under that.
Okay, thank you.
I found these pictures, it was after the hurricane.
Oh, that's,
yes, that's helpful right there.
Right there?
Yeah, you want to put it down, it might be easier.
Oh, I can put it down and.
Yep.
You're good right
yeah,
there.
that's great. Thank you.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
Oh, you guys,
Tap the screen.
oh,
Okay,
that's
great.
cool.
All right, very good. All right, you guys have any other questions? You are entitled to 5 minutes of rebuttal time if there's anything else you'd like to add.
I have a letter of support for this. We have like 11 or 12 neighbors supporting it, so.
Yeah, we uploaded a petition of neighbors supporting this possible variance.
Very good. In that case, I'll close the public hearing and leave it to the board for any additional discussion or a motion.
Does anybody want to have any discussion? Or I'll take a shot at it. We all good? All right. All right, I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-36 for property located at 2715 Ridgewood Avenue be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in rear yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet with encroachment for using gutters based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence of the record of the public hearing and necessary hardship and practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in 27-80 of the city code. Specifically, that this area is zoned for an ADU unit, and it is not infringing upon a neighbor because you have an alleyway there.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Your motion passes. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is VRB 25-39. The owner is Ashley Cachiro and Rosita Leon. The property address is 3006 West Rio Vista Avenue. The zoning is residential single family, RS 50. The request is to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 8 feet. This is code section 27156, table 4-2, schedule of area, height, bulk, and placement regulations. RS 50 district setbacks are 20 feet front, 20 feet rear, and 7 feet on the sides. Previous actions are BLD-25-051366, which is for the construction of the addition, and CMP-24-0008018, which was construction without permits. This is a satellite view of the site highlighted in orange. This is the site plan submitted. This is a close-up, which got kind of blurry, so we'll use this one as the main one. There were unpermitted structures along the sides here. These are gonna be removed and replaced with green space. And then this is an extended Florida room that is non-air conditioned and is 8 feet off the property line. Here's the close-up. So it's 8 feet from this point here to the rear property line with a 6-foot fence that goes around the property. Natural Resources found it inconsistent. The site lacks any existing trees and does not meet the requirement of 25% green space, which they tried to address with the updated site plan. The variance applies solely to the sunroom and does not exempt the project from meeting natural resources requirements, and then compliance with all applicable landscaping and green space standards remains necessary. Transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, all found it consistent, and TICO had no comment. This is the criteria for the Variance Review Board. And I'll be available for any comments, questions, or concerns.
All right, the petitioner could please come on up.
And then the dock camera is available too.
Please state your name, address, and if you've been sworn.
Good afternoon, my name is Asleti Corchero. My address is 3006 West Rio Vista Avenue in Tampa, Florida, 33614, and I have been sworn in.
Good, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the board. All right, so can I start?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Oh, no problem.
So I've got a code violation for a sunrun that I built without a permit, and I've been trying for about 10 months to get into compliance with the city of Tampa. I have done a couple of applications before this one, and I guess it was the wrong application, and I've been given the information, I guess, that I needed to do, and then it wasn't the applications that I needed. So here I am, asking for a variance, which is the correct application. I'm asking to reduce the setback of my rear from 20 feet to 8 feet, which he already stated. The reason that I built this kitchen was to accommodate 3 of my elderly family members that moved in with me. They used to live with my sister, and my sister passed away, and they didn't have a place to go. So we brought them into my house. We went from a family of 2 to a family of 5. So we built this little kitchen with we already had the roof, and we just enclosed her and did like a sunroom, air conditioning, and put a kitchen in there where they could cook, because they couldn't cook in my digital kitchen inside. So my grandma is 102, my uncle is 77, and my mom is 73. They're all in great health. And I'm just, they need a place to cook and gather and be comfortable. And this place is already, built. So I'm just hoping that the variance will be granted. I have letters from my neighbors supporting this. I'm sorry. And I also have a few neighbors here that are willing to speak in my behalf.
Very good.
So,
If any of the neighbors want to speak, now would be the time to
okay,
join us up here.
sure then.
Please be sure to state your name, address, and that you've been sworn.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ingrid Fernandez. I'm Asleti's neighbor. I'm at 3028 West Comanche Avenue. I'm here to let you guys know that, I have been sworn in. She is a great neighbor. I've known her for a very long time, and I don't have a problem with the addition for the kitchen to accommodate the elderly that she has in her home. So I'm here to support her.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on behalf of the petitioner? No? Yeah, anybody? More than welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afternoon. My name's Orlando Hernandez. My address is 3002 West Rio Vista Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33614. We live right beside.
And you've been sworn in?
Yes, I have.
Very good.
Sorry. We live right beside Robert and his wife. We've been living there for about 15 years, and we don't have an issue with the extension they're trying to do. And I know this will benefit their elderly family and give them some more extra benefits and stuff, and just comfortable living for them.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else for or against? Not hearing any. All right.
And I do have some letters as well, if you guys.
Very good. If you'd like to bring them up,
Yep.
you have to submit them to the record.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
We will review these while we're doing that. I think it's okay to start some board questions.
Thank you. And this might be a question for staff, but, and also kind of tangentially related to what I'm curious from the applicant. Because it's not air conditioned, is it safe for cooking? I mean, is it part of the house? Is it some kind of fire safety code issue if it remains unair conditioned? Sometimes, stoves, and I don't know what's out there, and you can probably clarify for us. But
I do have pictures, you guys can look at it.
Yes.
There is, big doors open, like it's not completely enclosed or anything like that. I mean, it's, I don't know. Is that? The photos, okay. They are also in the record. I upload them to the application, but I can just put them here?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. Let's see. This is how it looks from the outside. Okay. This is where you can see the open area. This is the big door on the side over here, and then there's another door. If you look straight all the way into the back, that's another door. That's my family. Here's another one where you can see, this is a French door right here that opens up completely. So, I mean, I don't think there's but I wouldn't know, but nothing happened. There's a couple more pictures.
And to expand on it, while she's showing you the photos, when this goes through permitting, they will still have to show
Yes.
all the light safety, ventilation, all those kind of standards. That will have to be addressed. Electrical, all of that. None of that is being waived with this request.
Yeah, and board members, you're only approving the
The setback.
reduction in the setback, right, for the sunroom. Yeah.
All right, I do have a question. Ma'am, when was the original home built?
2001.
The original home was built in 2001, and what was the square footage?
I think it's like 14-ish.
And that was originally a 2.2, 2.1?
I said 3.2.
It was
3.2.
Originally a 3.2.
Yeah.
Very good.
And still like that. It's not.
Okay. One of the requirements for us is a hardship. That can't be something that was set forth by you. Is there any other hardship that you can state for us that may?
I mean, they don't have a place to go, and they wouldn't be able to support themselves and cook. I work all day, so that's my husband. I mean, my grandma is in a specific diet, and we don't eat the same thing. They need it, and there is no other place that I can put this kitchen at. My grandma and my mom share a room. My uncle is in the other room, and then my husband and I in the other one. There's no extra space.
Okay.
If I had to take this down, it'll be a really big hardship for me, and obviously will make their life
Sure. I
worse.
understand.
They used to live with my sister, and she passed away, so
Very sorry for your loss.
thank you.
would you be opposed to a condition requiring that it can't be air conditioned, that just stay as is?
No, I can definitely, I'm sorry, what was the question?
A condition on the variance just requiring that there's no AC included. Is there a roof over it?
It is a roof over it,
I mean,
yes.
it's sealed in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be,
Well, if they get it permitted, if they
yeah.
go through permitting and permitting allows them, then they would allow the AC if it goes through permitting, which would be, I wouldn't want to cook in a kitchen without AC.
They always call, so they always they like to be out there with
Fair.
our air conditioning.
But why would we condition it with?
Yeah,
Well, I
but-
mean, that's for
I'm just
deliberation.
curious.
Yeah, the board often, when there's a reduction in setback of this, to this extent, will often add a condition that it not be enclosed or not, right,
Correct.
not be
Traditionally,
made
it's
into
open air.
air-conditioned space, just because of the, the light and the ventilation and things like that, that is intended to be achieved when you have the setback as large as it is, so.
But it's enclosed.
It is already enclosed,
Right.
so, yeah.
Right, yeah, but that's something I was gonna bring up when we deliberate.
okay.
Have you had any support for or against by your neighbor immediately behind you?
No, he's actually here.
Okay.
My rear neighbor is here,
There we go, okay.
yeah.
Yes, I'm Robert Coleman. Address is 3007 West Comanche Avenue, Tampa, and I've been sworn in.
And so are you in support of this? You're in support of this?
Yes, I live right behind them, yes.
Because you'll be the one that's most affected, so,
And it looks,
well,
I love it being there.
okay.
So that's, yeah.
Is that it?
Yep, that's
That's
it.
it.
Thank you.
Any questions? No? I guess at this point, we'll close the public hearing and,
To talk to rebuttal?
oh, sure. Oh, you have 5 minutes to rebuttal. Apologies. If you have anything you'd like to add.
I will, thank you for your time and appreciate all the help.
Very good, thank you. Then we will close the public hearing and, for discussion and/or motion.
I would be comfortable, and I understand there's some, potential opposition to that, but I would be comfortable approving with a condition that there's no air conditioning. It seems to be an substantial extension onto the back of the home essentially. And I understand now it's being used as the kitchen, but if it runs with the property, it becomes an enclosed space that's potentially quite huge with that, accepted setback variance. So I would be comfortable supporting with adding a condition of, no air conditioning.
I don't have a huge issue with that either way, I don't think. I'm just thinking for comfortability and some possible safety issue that may come up with code. We may have to
Could we
re-see
condition
the
that it
variance.
remains a sunroom? Would that make a difference?
But
Because that
it's-
way, because sunrooms, basically you open up your door to your house and you're air conditioning your house,
But it's a,
conditions it. You're not adding AC, but it's,
It's an enclosed, yeah.
Well,
It's-
it's
and it's
mostly
enclosed
enclosed by windows, so like, it looks like it was an overhung porch that potentially the roof extended out over, then they put the walls up, now they've got extra space and a variance. So my thought was, it would not have been allowed to go this deep otherwise with, with the setback that's there. So, I mean, I would still be willing to accommodate it, but I think the condition at least acknowledges that it otherwise wouldn't have been allowed.
yeah, not attached. It would have to be detached.
Well, but they could have come before us. This is an after the fact, which is the only problem I have is that it's an after the fact, right? It's, they did it without asking permission, and that's the problem that I have. I sympathize with all of the issues that surround the thing, but it's an after the fact situation. However, if they had come to us for a variance, it could have been approved. Maybe it wasn't approved, but they could have. I don't think we could say that it wouldn't be, but they could have come before us, and for whatever reason, if we approved it, they would have been put the addition on with AC, with everything, right? So, my difficulty is the after the fact. That's my difficulty. Putting a condition of air conditioning, I don't know how that solves anything, to be quite honest with you. If we're gonna give them the variance, we're gonna give them the variance.
Right.
I mean, the building exists. I would hate for them, if we give them the variance, to be, stifling hot in a room like that with a condition of no air conditioning. My issue is, it's an after the fact request.
I don't know how you could police that.
No, you can't police that. You can put a window unit in and there you go.
Well, from a permitting perspective, I mean, I'm just saying it would matter in terms of what the city can look at in the CELA and regulate. And so I do think it would bear some effect. And I agree with you, it's after the fact, so
Yeah.
that's definitely one of
biggest
my, thoughts going in, is because it wasn't asked for, you know, it's more of like that forgiveness issue, and I understand where you're coming from.
Along that line, the hardship is the hard part, right? And
Yeah.
the hardship I see is that it is an extremely tight site. There's no room for anything, and she's mentioned that.
Yep.
Like these are just, you know, you look at all of them, they're all that way. They're really like 5 feet off the property line, there's just nowhere to go with it, so. With that in mind, I don't see an issue with it. And it's, you know.
If there's
all
any more
the-
discussion,
all the
if you would
other
like to
ones
make a
in there,
motion, I guess, would be the next step.
Come on, do the last one. You wanna go?
I mean, no. I mean, I'd be willing to approve it without the condition. Not that I don't understand where you're coming from, I just would be willing to approve it without the condition, because I'm imagining if we sat here and they came to us before they built it, would we approve that? And I would not have a problem with it, because there is nowhere else to go, right? And I would want them to have the creature comforts of the property.
Well, my thought on that is the window's open, the door's open. It's a sunroom effectively, so it does completely open. So it's designed right now to not have it. I would be okay, and they agreed that it would be a condition they would be okay with. So for those reasons, I still think it would fly.
That's a fair point. I'll go
That's
ahead
a
and
fair
go it
point.
around.
I'll do it. You wanna do it, or you want?
I don't care.
I don't care. Okay. I will move that the variance request for case VRB 25-39 located at 3006 West Rio Vista Avenue, as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing, for a request to reduce rear yard setback from 20 feet to 8 feet with the following conditions: that air conditioning not be added to this structure.
Understood.
Is that good? Yep, does that sound good to you all? Okay.
Second.
That said, well, let me finish.
Sorry.
Thank you. That said, variance is conditioned be granted based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record, and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that she is going through permitting right now to have it taken care of through the city, even though it's an after the fact, that there is very little space on the property to have added anything in the first place. Likely if she'd come before this board, she would have asked for a variance, and because there's no space, it's highly likely that she would have gotten it, and that she has agreed to the condition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Your variance passes. Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is VRB 25-41. The owner is Rural Tampa Festival LLC. The applicant is Jenkins. The property address is 2525 East Hillsborough Avenue. The zoning is commercial intensive. The request is to increase the building signage square footage from 25 square feet to 162.5 square feet. The code section is 27240, which is the East Tampa overlay that restricts signage to the following requirements. Parcels permitted to have more than one building sign may not have those abut corner of a building, a minimal separation of 10 feet shall be required between such signs. A minimum separation of 4 feet shall be maintained between signs on the same facade. No individual sign shall exceed 25 square feet. This is the parcel in question, outlined in red. This is a breakdown of the parcel and all of the stores within it. This is like a strip center. There's a multi-unit, a multi-tenant building that runs along the side here, and then across the back was a larger retail space that went out of business. Now it's becoming a Key Foods supermarket. This is a close-up of the sign. It's 57.5 inches by 407 inches, getting you to that square footage that was shown on slide 1. Natural resources, transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, urban design, and TECO all found it consistent or consistent with conditions. This is the criteria for the Variance Review Board under 2780, and I'm available for any comments, questions, or concerns.
Do we have the petitioner here? Come on up. Please be sure to state your name, address, and that you have been sworn.
Yes. All right. Good evening, Chairperson and members of the board. My name is Quanisha Jenkins, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all. I am here. Oh, sorry. The address is 2525 East Hillsborough Avenue, and I have been sworn in.
Great, thank you.
All right. To keep it short and to the point, we would like to request an increase in size of the wall sign from 25 square foot to 162.5 square foot. To describe our proposed project request, this project is a food market with a storefront of 163 linear foot, requesting for a sign size increase to 162.5 square footage. Why is our hardship unique? Our property is situated approximately 650 feet from the entrance at a busy intersection where multiple roadways converge, creating unique visibility challenges not faced by other properties in the same zoning district. Moreover, recent changes in zoning regulation have introduced new setbacks and height restrictions that disproportionately impact our ability to install effective signage, particularly given the pre-existing conditions of our site built in 1963. These regulatory changes were implemented after our property was developed, creating an additional layer of hardship that is not shared by newer developments in the area. In comparison to neighboring properties, which enjoy more regular lot shapes and flat interior, the comparative disadvantages highlighted why the standard zoning requirements are cumbersome for us and justify the need for a variance. In summary, ensures equality and fairness by allowing us to overcome unique challenges and achieve visibility and effectiveness as other properties that do not face the same hardship. This ensures that our property is not unfairly disadvantaged. Negative impacts on the health and safety of the principal parcel or neighboring properties. Rather the opposite. Shopping locally reduces carbon emission, conserving energy, preserving natural resources, and supporting sustainable practices. The sign is designed and will be installed in compliance with all building and electrical codes as well as safety standards, ensuring structural integrity and stability. It will be positioned to maintain clear sight lines for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists, preventing any obstruction of visibility at intersections or driveways. The illumination of the sign is carefully controlled to avoid glare and light spillover, ensuring it does not distract drivers or disturb nearby residents. Regular maintenance will be conducted to keep the sign in good condition and mitigate potential hazards due to wear and tear. Additionally, the sign will not generate any noise, and its placement will not obstruct emergency access to the principal parcel or neighboring properties, thereby safeguarding health and safety in the area. The substantial justice being done. On the property are other local businesses with signs that exceed Tampa's Florida Code of Ordinances, Section F, General Sign Standards. Additionally, granting this variance promote equality by allowing the applicant to achieve similar visibility benefits enjoyed by their businesses in the area. particularly those that have received similar variances or have naturally favorable conditions for sign placement. Side note, the owner has invested millions into this project, employing over 200 employees in the community. And this variance request is this variance request in harmony with Tampa's comprehensive plan, you ask? The answer is yes. The request should align with the city's goals for economic growth, supporting job creation, business development, or other economic priorities highlighted in the comparison plan. I believe this variance is both reasonable and justified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against the petition? All right, sure. Come on up. How you doing? Please state your name, address, and if you've been sworn.
Where's I just talked, there's no microphone? Okay, sorry. My name is Alberto Suero. Address is 2525 East Hillsborough Avenue. So I work at the, I'm the general manager of, sorry? Oh, I did sign the document that says that I,
But did you raise your right hand? Were you sworn in?
I was not at the beginning.
Then you need to be sworn in.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that wants to be sworn in right now?
Yes. So do you, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Swear.
Yes.
Please continue.
Okay, so we present this in order to be allowed to have a sign that is actually visible from the avenue. As Nisha explained, we are very back in this plaza, so it's very hard to see from the street. And an example of that is during Hurricane Milton, we were actually one of the few businesses that were open right after the hurricane. We actually slept in the store, and by 6 in the morning, we were out picking up debris, and by 9 a.m., we were open for business to help out the community. However, no one knew that we were there. We were open for probably less than a month. And we actually had to have employees out on the street directing people into the plaza because people had heard of us, but they couldn't see that there was an actual business inside. So I bring up that point to prove that we have very little visibility from the street.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions? Signage.
Um, I do have a question. So how big, like, what's the square footage of your building? Just out of curiosity, is it the size of a typical, like?
Like a Walmart.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. And then how big is your sign now? Is it the standard size? Is that the site issue?
Yeah,
It's
pretty
just what's
much.
allowed that's what they're?
Yeah.
Do you
We
have a
have
picture?
actually, yeah, may I?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, do you mean the proposed sign or
The existing.
the existing? Well, right now, we have temporary banners.
Yeah.
We don't have a sign because we were only allowed this 20 square foot sign that it wasn't even worth making or investing money in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the 20 square foot like in the shopping plaza sign? Is that what it was? Or maybe because I know there's a monument sign. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we do have the sign out there on the monument, right? Is that correct?
We do.
Yeah, there is a banner, but the banner is pretty small still. Again, no one can see because we're all the way in the back. There's a ton of trees that are blocking the sign as well, so they won't really see it unless they're driving in the plaza, and even then, it's hard for them to see. And I said I have pictures here. This is just one example. So this is not the entrance of the store,
Can
actually.
you move it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry. So this is actually driving, and the sign where we want it is actually to the left behind the trees.
Okay.
So, yeah. Here is another image. Okay. So as you can see, there's the main road, and there's the plaza. The entrance is here to get in. And again, you have to make that left. Where is it? Yeah.
Got it. That's a great picture. Thank you.
Yeah,
Was this the former Winn-Dixie site?
I believe so.
Okay,
It was a Winn-Dixie, then a Harvey's.
yep.
Yeah.
So I recall the sign for Winn-Dixie was big. Yep, okay, thank you.
You guys have any other questions for the petitioner? No.
You guys have signage out on the street, like in a blade sign out there, and the big sign that announces all the stuff in the plaza?
Yes, there is a monument sign for the entire plaza, and we have a small space within that sign.
Very good. You have 5 minutes for rebuttal if there's anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, so I have some pictures from these stores, the neighboring parcels, actually. So you have, oops, so sorry. So you have the Harbor Freight Schools here. So again, that building is pretty big as well. The sign is huge. So just fairness. And I think I had the Ross as well. And again, these are the neighboring parcel.
Just curious, are you doing additional advertisement? How is the community, how are you bringing the community into the plaza? How do we know about your key food store before we see it?
We used to run radio advertisements, but mostly we participate in community events. For example, this July 19th will be part of a back to school backpack drive, which we're gonna give out, well, not us, but along with the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, we're gonna give out 2,500 backpacks out to the community. So we do so by participating and being part of the community. We also had a block party in which the police department participated as well. So we try to, instead of having big signage or freeway signage, we try to do for the community, do things for the community, and let them understand that we are their neighbors. Like, we are here to be part of Tampa.
Okay, thank you.
All right, in that case, I will close the public hearing and open it up for board discussion or a motion.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy one. All the neighbors that they're affecting already have big signs. It's a parking lot in front and the sides, you know, and they do have a thing. And I definitely really appreciate.
Sorry,
Yeah, please.
just board discussion, I just wonder, because of the use of the signs on the adjacent parcel, so just want to remind the board that you have to focus on this particular parcel and find a hardship on this particular parcel, because we don't know the circumstances under which any of those other signs were approved or how they got to be that size, so I'll just remind the board. Thanks.
I agree with what you're saying. They were mentioning it was over 650 feet away from the road, and so for that, to me, is a significant distance, and they're in the back, so.
I appreciate the fact that they reused an existing building and adaptive reuse. It's I mean, thank you for investing in the community.
So I'm ready to make a motion if you guys are good. Okay. I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-41 for property located at 2525 East Hillsborough Avenue be granted as depicted in the site plan presented at the public hearing for a request to increase building signage from 25 square feet to 162.5 square feet. Based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that the structure is located 650 feet from the road and from the entrance to the shopping plaza, and that the need for additional visibility is warranted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Your variance passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case on the agenda is VRB 25-42. The owner is Hillsborough County. The applicant is Addie Mintry. The property address is 801 Water Street. The zoning is Central Business District, CBD 2. The request is to increase in signage from 207.76 square feet, allowable EMC wall signage on the west elevation for a total of 225 square feet, and then requesting an increase of 232.77 square feet of allowable EMC wall signage on the northeast elevation for a total of 277 square feet. Code section 27-289.4, electronic messaging signs may be permitted in place part of all the allowable sign surface area as provided herein, and the sign surface area of electronic messaging sign shall comply with the following standards. So electronic messaging sign works off the width of the right-of-ways that are allowed. So along the west side, you have a 32 square foot allowance, and then a 40 square foot allowance along the northeast side. The second layer of this is in the Central Business District. They have a greater sign allowance based off of how many stories your building is. So with this, even though it's a large building, it does not have many floors. So they have a large amount of signage available, and Addie will expand on that. This is the map of the site on Water Street. This is where the west elevation sign location and the northeast elevation sign location on the History Center. Currently, there are two banners, one right above the Tampa Bay History. This will be replaced with one of the electronic messaging signs. This is the second location where the other large banner is. That will be replaced by this second EMC unit. Natural resources, transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, all found consistent, and TICO had no comment. This is the criteria for under 2780 for granting variances. And I'll be available for any questions or concerns.
Good evening, Addie Mintry, 13266 Bird Drive, Odessa, Florida. I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. So tonight I'm here to represent the Tampa Bay History Center. Just a quick vicinity map. We're right in downtown to the west of Amalie Arena and across from Sparkman Wharf, located on Water Street. This is the parcel map. We are located between Water Street and Beneficial Drive. This is also just a vicinity map of all of the development throughout Water Street that we are incorporated into. We also sit just north of where Riverwalk is. So just a little history of community and tourism impact. So the Tampa Bay History Center was established in 1989. Where it currently is housed was built in 2009. It's a 60,000 square foot facility along Tampa's Riverwalk. It is accredited and affiliated with the Smithsonian Institution, and it has exhibits from 12,000 years of Florida's history, from its earliest inhabitants to contemporary history. The History Center engages in history talks and free public events for the community to foster connection to Florida, the city of Tampa, and Hillsborough County Collective's history. The History Center is proud to partner with the Friends of Riverwalk to bring the historical monument trail along the Riverwalk. So that is bronze and marble busts of monuments of significant people and events that have shaped Tampa and Hillsborough County. There's a total of 30 of those that were designated and dedicated from 2012 through 2017. The History Center is also proud to be a part of Visit Tampa Bay's Riverwalk Attraction Pass since its inception in 2022. The Attraction Pass is a testament to the evolution of Tampa Bay with the expansion of Water Street and the Riverwalk. Last year, it showed a 72% increase year over year in passes sold, with an increase of $85,000 in revenue to our community. So tonight we are asking for an increase of signage. So an increase, like Stephen said, of 207.8 square feet of allowable EMC signage on the west elevation facing Water Street, and a request of increase of 232.77 square feet allowable EMC on the northeast elevation that faces Beneficial Drive and also the Sparkman Wharf area, and the code references for that are 27-289.4. So as Stephen showed you, this is the west elevation. This faces Water Street. There is an existing banner there. That banner will come down and this will take its place. We are engineering a special base structure for this. The existing base for the banner will come off because that won't hold the EMC, so that will be engineered. And this is the northeast elevation that faces Beneficial Drive and the Sparkman Wharf. This one is 277 square feet. The other that faces Water Street is 225. The bigger one, we wanted to face Sparkman Wharf so that it had a larger visibility, and the smaller one to face Water Street because it's right in the front. It's closer to the frontage where you can see it. This is the site plan that shows where they will be located. These are the so this is the existing banners that face Water Street right now. And these are the banners that face Beneficial Drive. So you can see there's one on that silver architectural feature and then 3 that are on the north elevation. All 3 of those, like all 4 of those, will go away, and the EMC will then only be used for the identification. So it will be more concise in the identification. And they will identify only exhibitions and events that are happening at the center. They will not advertise any off-site events or anything. Because it is linked to ownership of the county, we do want to let you know that any emergency notifications, i.e. anything that happens with the hurricanes, they do have access to those if that is something that they would like to place on there. We want to emphasize that. So the alleged hardships. So practical difficulties, unique and singular. So as a key cultural institution in the CBD district, the purpose does differ from what is around here. There is, Glacier, there are other museums, but in the Water Street area, this is not a commercial function. The request for the EMC is the electronic message center signs aligns with the mission to effectively communicate and promote exhibits and events, including significant historic events for the city and county, such as the Black History Museum establishment. Given the site's configuration, including the positioning along Riverwalk, Water Street, and towards Sparkman Wharf, the proposed signage replaces existing banners without disrupting the visual environment. The unique hardships faced by the center stem from its need to adapt communication and to make the identification more concise instead of having to go up and change banners every time a new exhibit comes there. The EMC request, we believe, is a reasonable component for the broader kind of reinvention of this Water Street area and all of the tourism that it has brought to the community, and to support the museum's importance to Tampa and to the county. The practical difficulties does not result as an action of the applicant. We believe that the request stems from the evolving needs of the Tampa History Center as a prominent cultural institution, as well as the development of Water Street, it bringing so many more visitors to this corridor, the necessity for updated and effective communication tools, such as the electronic message centers, to really get all of the exhibits and events out in a timely manner, arises from the museum's mission to inform the public about what they do and significant events. These challenges are further compounded by the site's, configuration. We want to make sure that we are getting that information out, especially to visitors that visit our city. We want them to come, especially because they are on the attraction path. So we want to make sure that they know what is there and draw them in. And the need for the EMCs, we believe, is reasonable based on those factors, and the center's role as an educational and cultural resource. If granted, it will not substantially interfere or injure health. We believe that the proposed signage will not substantially interfere with health and safety. The corridor already has similar signage. Amalie Arena has EMC signage. I did have a conversation with Susan, and I believe that the Amalie Arena signage does not necessarily meet code in some ways, but we believe, based on the intensity of the central business district, that it can hold this type of signage. And the addition of the EMCs here do generate advertising and are congruent with the corridor that is there. They are if the variance is in harmony with the chapter and the comprehensive plan, we believe that it is the purpose of Imagine 20 is to emphasize sustaining and enhancing attractive, safe cities, and also development that is spoken to with the Water Street development. We believe furthering this will promote growth and change to, it also speaks to growth and change in these specific parts of the city, strengthening and protecting, neighborhoods and for commercial corridors. The History Center's location is within the CBD district, and it's an area that does see adjacent signage and is an urban environment, and we believe can handle this without really making it visually cluttered, because we're going to move those banners from the northeast side into this one sign. Oh, goodness. And then just substantial justice. Allowing the variance will result in substantial justice, balancing the public benefits with the individual hardships and practical difficulties. Here, from a public standpoint, granting the variance supports the center's ability to inform residents and visitors of new and significant exhibits. The EMCs will enhance communication and engagement with those visitors, and we believe that it aligns with the city's broader goal to promote a vibrant city and public spaces, and also cultural awareness. So I'm here to answer any questions.
I have one question.
Yes.
So these are electronic messaging signs?
Yes.
Do they constantly have a message? Will they constantly have a light? Does anyone live across the street from them?
So let me jump in here if I could. And I did speak to Ms. Mentry about her application, just because there are multiple references in it to the Amalie Arena and the precedent that sets. So I just want to state for the record, and I know Ms. Mentry understands as well, that not all of the Amalie Arena signs are code compliant, and so this board cannot grant any type of approval for signs that are not allowed under the current code. So, you might want to consider conditioning, if the board is inclined to approve this application, to condition the approval on signs that comply with the City of Tampa sign code. And then I don't know, there was a mention of emergency notifications in the event of emergency. I don't know if that complies with our sign code or if that's allowed, but again, that would be covered if you were to condition it upon allowable signage under the sign code. So I can't guarantee it, but again, this board can't grant approval for anything that's not allowed in the sign code. So your focus is on the square footage of the signage, not anything else.
Also, oh, sorry. Yeah, so the sign will be lit. So the signs will comply with all of the requirements of an EMC sign outside of this. The signs do not directly face any of the apartments that are in the corridor, but they will be lit. I mean, they will not be lit in times of non-use, I think from midnight until 5 a.m. Is like the standard that we have on our permits, and that will be submitted with permits. There is also like brightness specifications that the code states that we'll have to comply with, and all of that is on like the spec sheets that we submit to permitting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a video message board. It's video.
So it will not be videos, it will be static images.
Static image.
Yeah, static images that, display, say like if you made a PDF of
Right.
an event poster, that's what would be on there, they're not going to be video.
It's an LED, it's an LED.
Yes,
Yep,
yeah.
yep, right, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
again,
you.
there are
I know,
requirements in
it
the
used to be
code
the
that.
scrolling stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the world has changed
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there
I
are
can
requirements in the
show.
code right
Yep.
now for electronic message signs, and so rather than get into the details,
That's
if you
okay.
just make it compliant
So-
with the code, I think.
Yeah, so like
Yep.
on the screen, this is like what
It's an
it,
image.
would be, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
But it won't be some of the things you've seen on Emily, just
Yeah,
to be clear.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Some of those aren't code compliant, so.
Yeah.
so.
You have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you so desire.
No, we appreciate your support. We really believe that it will enhance the corridor and bring more people into the city and bring more people into this really valuable organization and institution.
Thank you. We'll close the public hearing, open it to the board for further discussion or a motion.
I could make a motion. And before I do, would the board be comfortable if I did and add some language that just provides compliance with the City of Tampa electronic messaging sign provisions? I think that's what they're asking anyway. We're approving the size, but so long as the rest remains compliant. I mean, I think it's already gonna happen, but I would just add the language if that's acceptable. Sure, okay. I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-42 for property located at 801 Water Street be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a increase of 207.76 square feet of allowable EMC wall signage on the west elevation for a total of 225 square feet, and an increase of 232.77 square feet allowable EMC wall signage on the northeast elevation for a total of 277 square feet, based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that the Tampa Bay History Center provides lots of services and events, and they are looking to continue providing this kind of visibility to the new community around Water Street. And I realize I just read this without a condition, but I wanted to add in there that we would be approving these as for the sign variance allowed, but also that they remain in compliance with the EMC wall signage from the City of Tampa Code of Ordinances.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Well, sorry, instead of just EMC, just the City of Tampa sign code.
City of Tampa sign code.
So some of the things that she was talking about, like the emergency messaging, that may be allowed, I just don't know off the top of my head.
Yes.
But that way, it's not just electronic message, it's all sign.
All signs, signage provisions from the City of Tampa sign code.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
Second.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations.
The next item on the agenda is VRB-25-45. The owner is Betty Ventures LLC. The applicant is Amber Toe. The property address is 5104 West Platt Street. The zoning is residential single family, RS 75. The request is to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 5 feet for the construction of a pool over 12 inches above grade. The code section is 27156, table 4-2. Schedule area, height, bulk, and placement regulations of RS 75 districts. Setbacks are 20 feet from the front, or 25 feet from the front, 20 from the rear, and 7 feet from the sides. The previous action is BLD-25-0512-156, which is construction of the home. This is a highlight of the site. This is a site plan showing the pool deck with, it has a back lanai and then steps that go down to the pool. Because the pool is over 12 inches above grade, it triggers the code provision under 27290 for pools. Once it exceeds 12 inches of above finished grade, it shall meet the primary structure setbacks. This is a close-up of the pool, showing it 5 feet off the property line on this corner and 5.6 feet off the property line in this corner. And then it meets all other primary structure setbacks. So it's 7 feet on the sides and 22 feet on this side to avoid that tree protection radius. Natural resources found inconsistent. During the construction phase, further changes and requests can be made due to the tree off to the side, transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, and stormwater, all found inconsistent, and TECO found it consistent with conditions. This is section 2780 of the code showing the power and the hardship criteria. I'll be available for any questions, comments, or concerns.
Hi, I'm Amber Toe from Island Way Pools, 110 Island Way, Clearwater Beach. I have been sworn in. I am representing the pool builder on behalf of Beatty Ventures and Crescent Homes, which is the home builder. And we are requesting the reduction of setback due to the elevated lanai in the back of the new home build that from 20 feet to 5 feet for an elevated swimming pool. This is due to the current new home build's elevation. The Beatty Ventures Crescent Homes has been designing and building homes due to, like with elevated homes due to the recent storms and flooding issues that are in the area. The rear lanai is 5'6" above grade, and then the proposed pool would be 36 inches above grade. That would be like 4 feet out of the lanai, or 4 steps out of the lanai, and then it would take 5 steps all the way down to on the side of the pool, elevated pool deck. This is the current view of the home. This is probably the best. This is like the 6-foot fence that's on the neighboring property, and then this is the elevated lanai that they're in reference. And then this is like the proposed location. This is what it would look like. There's the proposed location. This has like the concern for privacy, which the homeowner has addressed, that they would be putting like areca palms across the back to give privacy in order for them to sell the home in the future. And if we were to be at grade, it would take 9 steps outside of the lanai, and that's where the pool would have to start to be actually at code. So you'd be moving it closer to the fence to allow for space. So keeping it with the only 4 out of the home and 5 down on the sides would allow for adequate space for a pool. This is just
The home is elevated for flood reasons. There's only 25 feet from the 25 feet from the back of the lanai to the fence. So it allows for just a small deck and for the pool to be built. To put in both the stairs and the pool. So there's not too much space back there. And then these are some more photos of what it would look like in the back with the additional, the trees and the alongside of the deck. Do you have any questions?
All right, so that concludes your presentation?
Yes.
See the people left out there. Those that would like to speak for or against. Good. Board, if you guys have any questions? Not a whole lot of questions.
I have one. I didn't know I was going to let anyone ask, but is there any issues with, and this is for staff, is there any issues with like the green space requirement for this property? I don't recall you saying anything, but it seems like it's going to amass a great amount of concrete. I don't know what it's built out of.
Yeah. So the house itself is meeting the standard setbacks that are required, and the pool, if it wasn't above grade like it is, would meet the standard pool setbacks. And the green space is being met due to the front setbacks, and the sides are all going to be green space as well. So there's no natural resources request being made at this time. So they will have to comply with all natural resources, green space requirements, tree requirements, et cetera.
So the 25%.
Is it in a flood zone? Is that the reason for the height?
So with many of the houses now, even the ones that are maybe not totally in a flood zone, they're being required to be elevated to 12 foot above grade. So that's causing a lot of these, even non-flood zone houses, to be a foot or two elevated in some cases. And it's leading to a lot of these step-down pool deck situations.
I think we're gonna see a lot more of these. Everybody that's pool that flooded, yeah, destruction was terrible. No, not yet.
Not currently.
Nope. I think-
Any more questions from the board?
Nope.
You have 5 minutes for rebuttal. Should you have anything you'd like to say?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
I'll close the public hearing and open for board discussion and a motion.
I understand why it has to be built up. My only thought or possible hesitation is like rainwater runoff issues. I don't know if there's other neighbors that have to do that, or I don't think that's for us, but
So
it's.
there's a very stringent code on that.
By
and
code,
will
they have to.
They have
They have to maintain the water on site. Any impervious area they add, they'll have to keep it on site, so they'll put vaults underneath the ground.
Okay, is it? I assume some of this is in.
Oh,
the
yeah, no,
rail.
it's,
Yeah.
Well,
all
in
it has to
when it says consistent, that means that they've evaluated all of it and are putting those requirements on them
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, there's.
The only thing I mean, it's so close to the lot line.
Yeah.
And, I mean, is it our place to make a condition that they do put stuff in those trees there? That's just, it's, good Lord.
yeah, and like my other thought was to enclose it, so suppose someone put a lanai, I mean, we could approve it for the pool, but
With no enclosure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but.
But still, I mean, they're being forced, I mean, look, a pool is a luxury, plain and simple. They don't have to have this pool. But, if we approve, it's based on the fact that they're being required to build a house that high. And in order to do that, the reasonable expectation of putting that pool in requires them to do this. Otherwise, the steps, it just one thing piles on top of the other because of the requirement to build the
They
house.
could still put the pool in. They just have to add more stairs to lower the deck, and it would just bring it that much closer to the fence.
Yep.
I appreciate the attempt to try to keep a little more space back there so they have room to plant large shrubbery and increase the
Yes.
privacy.
Yeah.
that's where I agree as well.
Yep, I don't have a problem.
I think it's well thought out.
Yeah, it is, and I don't have a problem.
Would you like to make a motion?
You wanna try it?
Yeah, I want to try.
All right.
Okay. Okay, yeah, for approval for this with.
It's this one without conditions.
Oh, without conditions, okay. Move the variance request for case VRB 225-24. Oh, I'm sorry, 25-45 for property located at 5104 West Plaque Street.
We're, actually, you gotta go one more above that. We're doing 25-44 at 5102, I
Oh,
believe.
wait.
No, it's withdrawn.
we're doing that one.
Oh, that one withdrawn?
This
Okay.
is withdrawn. This is the one that's.
Apologies, you're correct.
Oh,
You're right.
okay,
You're right.
okay.
You're right, not me.
Okay, located
Two
at
of them.
5104 West Platte Street, as depicted on the plan site presented. Oh, I'm sorry. Be granted as depicted on the plan site presented by the public hearing for to reduce a rear yard setback from 20 feet to 5 feet for the construction for a pool over 12 inches above grade, based upon the applicant presenting, competent and substantial evidence in the record recorded and at this public hearing of unnecessary hardship or practical difficulties when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically allows them to, I guess, build a pool within the codes recommended, right? I don't know.
Right, so with specifically that it's.
That-
The flood requirement requires the home to be, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
higher, And that's forcing them to raise the elevation of the pool and pushing it further to the lot line. Does that make sense?
Yes, do I have to say it?
No, you can, yeah, just.
Okay, so specifically with the flooding, that the pool area be raised, in coordinates with, I'm sorry.
The pool area is being raised in order to meet the rise of the home.
Okay, the pool area is being raised to meet the rise of the home. So,
Second.
thank you.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Congratulations. Have a nice
Thank
night.
you. Thank you for all your assistance. Oh, yes. Yeah, do I need, you want me to do more?
Don't do this one.
Yeah? Yeah.
Don't do this one.
I didn't know I could email one, or I would have emailed it.
Yeah, you can bring them in a flash drive too.
Oh,
if you have any more of
okay.
these.
Okay. Different, council or variances, they do different things. Thank you.
All right, now on to the last item of the agenda, VRB-25-50. The owner of this is CTV Capital 112 LLC. The applicant is Ricky Pederica. The property address is 10510 North Nebraska Avenue. The zoning is commercial intensive. The request is to remove 5 grand trees to construct a new affordable housing complex. Code section is 27-284.2.5, permit for grand tree removal. There was a previous action, LND-24-19, which is a live local project. This is a map of the site. This parcel actually extends beyond this to cover both of these squares here. These are the grand trees being discussed today. There is 5 grand trees that require a permit for removal, which will be the top one here at 46 inches, which is labeled 1G, which is C4 rating. These trees here are all camphor trees. They do not require variance for removal. Then you have tree 35, which is the next grand tree. Tree 40 is another camphor, and then 43, 44, 48 is being, 48 and 133 are being preserved. And you can see their corresponding ratings here, and we'll break that down more with photos. So this is Grand Tree 1, which is located in the front of the property. This is a camphor tree located here. And then these trees are located in the rear of the property where a old mobile home area used to be. The mobile homes have since been removed. Upon site visit with the applicant, we did notice a decline in the trees compared to the first visit when I reviewed it for the Live Local project. The reason is unknown at this time. We don't know if it's related to the removal of the mobile homes or to the site work to pull out the old utilities or what have you. But that was observed from the first visit to the second visit. This is the site survey with existing conditions, which I know it's hard to see the trees on this. So we're gonna go, this is the proposed plan that came in under the Live Local project. And then these were the plans submitted by the applicant. So the orange circles show the grand trees in question tonight that are being requested for removal. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is alternative site plan 1, which reconfigures to save all 5 trees. And then you can see the breakdown. The 6 units are relocated to a new 7th story. The 6 units impacted here are relocated to a new 7th story. This tree has a loss of 4 parking spaces. This tree here loses 7 parking spaces and creates a dead-ended aisle. This tree here loses 4 parking spaces and reconfigures the front entrance. This is alternative site plan 2, which shifts the entire building inward to the site, preserving the tree to the north, and then removing the other 4. This is alternative site plan 3, which was requested by staff to show how the tree in the best condition that has declined the least was the tree at the front of the site upon the second site review. So alternative site plan 3 shows a modification to the site to preserve that first tree up at the front of the site and still function under the Live Local application that they were working with. One last part is the Live Local project came with the condition that this would be required. It wasn't, you're approved, now come back in and get this. It was tied directly to a variance required for the grand tree removal, and the applicant was notified that at that time. Natural resources found it consistent with conditions. See the uploaded memo. Transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, all found it consistent. TECO found it inconsistent due to it not starting the building phase. There's still all the hookups left for the mobile home park in the rear of the site, and they want all of that handled and disconnected, which will be handled at the time of building. This is the criteria under 27284.2.5 for grand tree removal. And I will be available for any questions, comments, or concerns once the applicant's presentation is complete.
Just before the applicant begins his presentation, is the board familiar with the Live Local Act? Though everybody know it's state statute that allows for residential development for affordable housing to be put on properties that aren't zoned for residential development. So you'll see here that this property is zoned CI, commercial intensive, so they don't have to go through a rezoning, and they're allowed some deviations from certain code aspects. But specifically to this project, it recognized that, you know, all these trees, and they have to come and get a variance. It did not include the approval of any variances, and so the board should still consider, you know, the hardship criteria, the tree code, and all the things that you would traditionally do in a tree removal application.
Thank you, Board. Ricky Pederica, 308 East 7th Avenue, with Dark Moss. I'm a landscape architect and certified arborist. We did the assessment. And I've been sworn, I apologize. We assessed the trees in February, all on-site trees. There were a total of 120 that are jurisdictional and protected by the City of Tampa Code. Obviously, 5 are in play currently, and staff did a great presentation. I've got too many papers. Let me get organized here. I'm going to walk through some of the setup because there's some nuances to the reasonable recon that are generated from the Live Local Act that I just want to introduce. This is a request for 5 non-hazardous grant trees for a Live Local Act project. The screen showed single family. That's not correct. We're proposing multifamily, and I just tried to confirm this earlier. Approximately 160 units, not one. Site was platted in 1921 and, used as a mobile home park. This for the rear portion, and then as a mulch replacement area in the north. This is Nebraska Avenue. This is 275, 275 to the west. Current state now that commercial facility has been raised, and the mobile home park has also been raised. The adjacent uses to the north are a substation and vacant land, commercial facility to the south, and single family to the south and west, and obviously Nebraska on the east. The proposed site plan is two six-story apartment buildings. These are some of the elevations. The on-site trees go to about this high. That's the scale of the buildings that we're working with, which makes it challenging to tree preservation when the buildings are that big. The ability to use alternative design techniques gets challenging when the buildings are that large. There are 11 grand trees on the site. 5 are impacted by the proposed development. Here, 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 and here. Staff showed 2 or 3 reasonable reconfiguration options. I can go through those again if there are any questions on them. But what's important to understand, golly, too many papers. The Live Local Act required a mixed-use component. It required a community-oriented use. In this case, was a daycare. What that did was required this sort of this public parking area in the front of the property oriented to Nebraska. That limited some of the site plan orientations in the reasonable reconfiguration options. When this building seemed like an obvious candidate to move, which we showed, it impacted the ability to provide this daycare use, which impacts the ability to secure funding through the tax credit funding process that they're following through with the Live Local Act project. So it's not necessarily the criteria, but it's very much a practical difficulty to the request that without being able to provide this mixed use component, which is allowed under the code in the zoning district, as well as it's required for the funding analysis, then this project wouldn't be able to even begin. So we're treating it as essentially as a requirement. After providing the 2 reasonable reconfigurations, again, we provided a third. This is a replacement site plan. The main difference is that this tree has been preserved, the best one in the front of the property. Let me show you a better example of it. .46-inch southern live oak. in good health, fair structure, and in good form. Overall C rating. Because nothing's around it, it rated as a C4, which is relatively low on the city's scale of grading trees. It honestly isn't that great, but it is the best compared to what staff and I observed in last month. We did not try to, because of the condition we observed last month and the reasonable reconfigurations, there was no request to preserve any of the, or attempt to preserve in this option, any of the other trees, any of the other grand trees. We've had no, I'm not aware of any opposition to this request. We also didn't get any support for it. And as you can see, it's a complex set of requirements, both the code standards, the number of trees, the funding requirements as they relate to the site plan. So there were a lot of possibilities in the reasonable reconfiguration, but after seeing the condition of the trees last month, which should have been better than the tree conditions in February, where they're dormant or coming out of dormancy and semi-deciduous, we're now proposing and are confident with this site plan that's proposed, and if with your approval, this will be the site plan that's going back in for building permitting if you approve this request. And I'm available for any questions, and I've got a lot of information to drill down into if you need it. Thank you.
So just for clarification, if I may, so the daycare center is not, I mean, that's the non-residential component that you're choosing to do, correct?
Yes,
It's
correct.
not, are there other options that you could have that might impact, or did you consider that?
There are in the, oh, it's going to push my Live Local knowledge, but submitted into the record is a portion of the Live Local Act request for application. This is how you apply for the funding. I understand. I'm very much at the fringe of my ability to describe this, but these highlighted portions are part of the requirements that go towards this funding request. So it had some family demographic commitment, which translated to a daycare, after-school programs, I guess a health and wellness program, and other components can contribute to that. But then this was the requirement that we were specifically using to establish this site plan orientation as it relates to providing public parking along Nebraska.
Did you say that was part of the application, or would you like to submit it as, it is part of the application?
It's already part of the application.
Okay, okay, I just want to make sure that you, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are replacement trees, I mean,
Does that conclude your presentation?
That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else to speak for or against. I do have some questions real quick for Mr. Federica. The site plan that you showed us last, you said that's the site plan you want to move forward with. That does not match the proposed site plan, or it does?
Correct. It does not match the proposed site plan that was originally submitted. This is a new version that was requested by staff, that the difference, the only difference,
It saves the large tree, so now
Is-
would that modify your application to only need the reduction of removal of? 4
correct,
trees?
yes. So we'd only be requesting removal of 4 grand trees.
Okay, my next question would be to staff, point of order for the noticing and all of the things. The newly proposed site plan is not part of anything that I have seen, and is it up on a cella for people to see, and
That is correct.
are we capable of approving that site plan this evening?
Well, I'll let Stephen answer the question if it's up on Excel
Yes.
or part of the record, but for purposes of the number of trees, if you are doing a lesser amount than what was noticed and originally requested, then you were able to do that. If it was a request to remove more than what was noticed or originally applied for, then
Does the
you would have an
tree
issue.
verbiage state per the proposed site plan?
I believe it says proposed site plan, or you can call out per alternative site plan 3.
Presented at the public hearing.
Presented at the
Okay,
public
very
hearing.
good.
Correct.
Thank you.
And
I just want to make sure that we can,
Yeah.
going down this road, I want to
Yes.
make sure we can get to the finish line.
yes, along with, to comment on alternative 3, the code only requires 2 alternative site plans. At the time when we went to the site, Ricky's site plans did meet the code criteria under the grand tree. This was an additional request made by me for this 3rd alternative site plan. So this is actually beyond what's required by the code, and Ricky was nice enough to provide it. So it didn't come up today at the hearing.
Very good. All right, so it sounds like we can move forward.
Mr. Peterka, are you replacing the trees that you're taking off, so you have to pay into, or you have to fund or whatever? How many are you actually able to relocate on site?
I'm not aware of any proposed for relocation.
Well, not
currently.
relocation, but how many new trees are you
We're-
providing?
So at this stage of the Live Local app, so all we've completed so far is the Live Local app process. We aren't in landscape plan design, and I'm not the landscape architect either. For the record, however, there are 72 type 1 trees currently required with all 5 grands removed. With the preservation of this other grand, it will go down. It's still in the ballpark of being met. With the required landscaping likely upsized, and any remainder would be paid into the fund.
Okay.
For Central, I think, Tampa.
Any more questions for the petitioner? All right, then we will close the public hearing, open it to board discussion or a motion. I will state that if anyone wants to make a motion to, we're gonna have to somehow designate the 4 trees that are being removed and the one that's being saved.
Would it help if Stephen called them out on the, as they're listed in the,
I was gonna say, in fact, I didn't write all those down.
Yeah, I know.
We probably should
yeah.
note them.
So 3.
Just gotta make sure you get it all right.
So this is per site plan 3, if that's the plan the board decides to move forward.
And that's, for clarification, the site plan that was presented during the hearing.
Yes, site plan
This
3,
evening,
alternative
at
plan
tonight's
3 was presented during the hearing. It preserves tree number 3 and still removes trees number 35, 43, 44, and 48.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion. I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-50 for property located at 10510 North Nebraska Avenue be granted as depicted on the alternative site plan 3, also known as the revised site plan, as presented at the public hearing for removal of grand tree, based upon the petitioner meeting the burden of proof with regard to the 6 factors for determining the tree removal as set forth in section 27-284.2.5 T4 of the city code for granting tree removal, specifically that the evidence provided in the record showed, and sorry, I feel like I missed something and I didn't say, let me back up, hold on, I just want to make sure I'm granting the request.
Just add it with trees.
Yes, can I start over and I apologize? I just want to get it right.
Yes.
Okay. I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-50 for property located at 10510 North Nebraska Avenue be granted as depicted on the alternative site plan 3 for the request to remove 4 grand live oaks for a new multifamily project, specifically that tree number 3 as depicted in alternative site plan 3 be saved and trees 35, 43, 44, and 48 be removed as presented at the public hearing for removal of a grand tree based upon the petitioner meeting the burden of proof with regard to the 6 factors for determining tree removal as set forth in section 27-284.2.5 T4 of the city code for granting tree removal, specifically that the evidence provided in the record showed that there are 120 trees on site. Of the trees observed for purposes of this variance request, 1 has been able to be saved, and that meeting these removal allows for a Live Local Act project to proceed forward that would allow for 160 units on site, as well as a mixed-use component, including a daycare.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, congratulations, your motion is passed.
Thank you, board.
Do we have anything else we need to discuss or close the meeting?
Ms. Velez, do we have anything else to discuss for the board? Then we will close the meeting.
Took longer than I thought it would.